All right, the Reds, we're back. It's the Spion Kop podcast. My name's Pete Bolster. I've got Christopher Griffiths Gripton with me. A win last night puts us right back in the pack, doesn't it? Exactly what we need, or exactly what we needed, I should say, Chris. How are you feeling about it?
Great. Absolutely superb. It actually started the night before, didn't it, with the two results. Made the fixture was going to be massive anyway for us. It was going to be a very tough fixture going to a team who were 12 unbeaten at home, I think it was.
Well, they're unbeaten all season. I think it's...
all season.
You got to... There's in teams that we've got to include there are Napoli, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Barcelona, I think Atletico Madrid, and then it was Sunderland. So it shows you the magnitude, actually. It was quite a difficult place to go, especially on a Wednesday night.
Absolutely. And then you've got the results of the previous day. You've got Chelsea drop points, United drop points. So it just made the fixture even more important for us than what it already was, if it could have been any more important. But yeah, I mean, it was a delight of a change. It was good. We went out there. We played a bit of football. It was really good to watch. There was much improvement to what we've seen. And it was just, it was a little bit refreshing. Now, it was still not where we need to be. Let's not get this wrong. But it was a bit refreshing to see such a marked improvement in the way they played the game in such a tough place to go.
Yeah, exactly that. I just want to talk a little bit about the context there, because obviously going into this game, we were very apprehensive. We're playing Sunderland. We've just mentioned of their formidable home records. Going up to the northeast in this time of the year as well is incredibly difficult. You can see Arne Slot was wearing a big coat, which was very abnormal, wasn't it? I don't know how he done it, but he looked a hell of a lot more bald. I reckon it must have been the coat. But like I just said, it's a difficult place. What I was worried about, if I'm really honest, was obviously we spoke about the right back situation and it really becoming problematic. Dominic Szoboszlai was banned. You've obviously got Conor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong, miss him. But then I thought, well, why have you changed another element of your back four? So immediately in that starting lineup, I was thinking, you've just put Andy Robertson in, but you've also got then Endo right back. Now, I know Andy Robertson's your natural left back, and I love Andy Robertson, but why change 50% of your back four when it wasn't necessary? However, I thought it worked. Liverpool didn't look phased at all at various points. Andy Robertson had an excellent game by all accounts. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, well, we mentioned before the City game, I actually felt that Robbo should have started that one. He should have brought the senior head into the play. In hindsight, who knows what would have happened if he played instead of Kerkez. But let's take nothing away. Kerkez didn't have a bad game at all. I'm not saying anything there, even though the result didn't go our way. But he did. He started them against Sunderland. He my opinion, played very well. He played really well. Endo at right back. Thought he was having a great game until that unfortunate incident, but we'll come to that in a minute. So the back four all in all. Konate, another good performance. A couple of really important blocks in there, which kept us going on the right foot. So yeah, certainly in the defensive half of things, it was a good performance. It was great.
I thought it was nice to see Andy Robertson back on the side as well. For me, I think he needs to get a few more minutes. He almost went to Spurs, didn't he, in January? I think for himself, and obviously Liverpool first and foremost for all of us, isn't it, that we need to achieve our ambitions. But I think by the evidence of that performance, we can achieve our ambitions with him playing more minutes, and I think that's vital for him moving into the World Cup as well. But let's go back to Endo, because you just brought Endo up there, and I thought he'd come in there, and I was out last night watching the game in the city with another podcast, and all the lads were really surprised to hear, because I brought it up, that he's actually a centre-half. So he's played more games at centre-half, I think, in Germany than he has in midfield. So whether he's a centre-half by trade or whatever, professionally he's played more minutes in the defence than he has in midfield. So it wasn't an absolute crazy decision to play him at right back, and he looked as natural as an unnatural right back could be for me in that 70 minutes or so.
Absolutely. I think I've mentioned to you before on one of the previous episodes, we've seen him cover at centre-back when he's needed to. And he's put in a great performance. Okay, he's not as big as the others, but he reads the game well and he's not afraid to get stuck in.
He's very tenacious, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He doesn't let anything go by him. He's quite intelligent with his football. We've seen him do the job in centre-half. So I sort of anticipate him being possibly.
I think what you can get from him is honesty. He's very honest in what he brings to the game, so you know exactly what you're going to get. The fact that there's no fuss about him, he's not getting picked anywhere near the minute he did under Jurgen Klopp, but he's still there, he's still knocking about, and he's still ready to put in a performance. And for me, I thought that was fantastic, and it's a real credit to him as a person, as a human being, to be ready and to go in there and put a performance in like that. I think to be fair as well, if you wear a gum shield, you have to be hard, don't you? And he certainly showcased that as well. You'd have to throw in those tackles and stuff, but it's just Liverpool's luck right now that right back position is cursed, isn't it, Chris? Because to go down like that, and to be honest with you, I wasn't sure if it was that serious at the beginning. All the lads around me said it was. Because he got up, he sort of fooled me, but I mean, that shows you how tough he is, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He tried, and he knew that the substitution wasn't going to be ready in time. He knew we had to defend.
Sorry, can I just jump in there with the substitution there? So that's what everyone around me was saying. But if Liverpool would have conceded on that corner, do you think that's acceptable? Because it was only a couple of weeks ago we conceded away at Bournemouth by not staying down. Should he have just stayed down in the beginning? Because the stretch would come on anyway.
It's probably part of his mentality, though, isn't it? We say about him being a strong character and wanting to play and being ready to play.
But I'm talking about the players around him. So when I'm saying that, like, listen, we're not taking credit away from him and his mentality, because you can't praise him with one hand and take away another. So I totally agree with you. I'm just saying, hypothetically, that ball goes in the back of the net. We're looking at your captain there and your experienced players, and obviously the manager as well, to be like, come on, lads, you should have been down there. And not only that, you could aggravate it.
Absolutely, and I think first and foremost is that's one of the most important things. Has he done any more damage by trying to continue there and do something for the team? And I don't think we can. And as you just said there, you're not trying to take anything away from him. We can't take anything away from him for the fact of trying, and it just shows the type of footballer he is. He's not one to go down and stay down unless he is hurt. So yeah, there is the element of it there. Could he have gone down? Could he have stayed down? But then the substitution then gets a bit more rushed. Couldn't he prepare the substitutions the way they like to these days and going over with their iPad and what the instructions are going to be in that period of time? Probably not. So you never know what they're told to do in that moment. So we can only hypothetically say things. But credit to the guy for getting up and trying to continue and not wanting to leave us down to 10 men.
I'll jump in there.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I just want to forget about the injury for a moment. I totally agree with everything you've said, so I'm not contradicting you. But isn't the iPad thing a little bit daft? Like, so what's the team meeting for? On the Friday? What's that for? So, like, you're telling me that Joe Gomez is standing there and he needs to look at an iPad to get the message from the manager or the coach to go and play right back for Liverpool. Like, we touched upon it in a previous show that he signed in 2015. He's no longer a serving player. I don't really get that aspect.
No, I don't understand it myself. At the end of the day, if you're defending your goal and there's a ball coming in, there's a threat, get the ball away. What do you need to know about that?
If you're sitting on the bench, you should know. It's only when something happens, like someone goes into a position where it's abnormal to them, or maybe there's some real piece of evidence where they say, do you know what, actually, if you go on the outside of him on the left wing, or you do this or you do that. But in an emergency, if your player's down, you just need to get on, don't you? I think Bournemouth...
Get on, you know what your job is. Get the ball away, get it to a safe place. And if they want to pass any further messages on to all these stats and whatever else they do with these iPads, that's fine. You can get the message to them. That's not a problem. You see all the time messages getting passed on. So yeah, just get them on the pitch, get them done. Don't disagree with that whatsoever. It was great to see Endo, trying to continue, trying to fight for the team. But I just hope in doing that he hasn't injured himself anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, I don't know if his season's over for Liverpool, but let's hope that it's not for Japan, because he has got the World Cup and he looked visibly upset. I'm not even sure if I've seen gas in air on him, which is never a good sign. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, he had one of the mobile Equinox things, I think he had, yeah.
Well, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah,
but
it indicates a hell of a lot of pain, which is not good to see at all.
early in the season, we had many pundits on Sky and some Liverpool fans and definitely rival fans questioning whether Florian Wirtz could do it on a cold Wednesday night in the Premier League away to Sunderland. Maybe not that phrase, but certainly.
Used to be away to Stoke, didn't it?
That's what it is, yeah. Same colour kit, stripes, all that nonsense. For me, he really, really put a shift in last night. And Chris, maybe you'll talk about his passion and his reading of the play, his skill and his left-footed shot against the post. You can do all of that. But for me, I was really, really impressed.
Well, I can do all that.
You can do all that. You'll be better than me. I was really, really impressed with how tough he was and how physical he was, and that 9 kilogram of muscle that he's apparently put on was really evident. And the fact that he ran back and he worked and worked and worked and he won the ball. There was 2 moments in particular in the first half where he chased back and he muscled people off the ball, but then started the attack with and had the composure then to really get the team going. And I'm not comparing him to Jordan Henderson and stylistically how he plays, or a Steven Gerrard or anything like that, but it was so refreshing to see a player in this Liverpool side that we question the mentality at times this season to actually go and put a shift in and do that, because in that first part of the game, I don't think Liverpool were great and he grew into it. I think he was definitely the person that helped Liverpool grow into it.
Absolutely. We've seen a different side to Florian Wirtz yesterday, in my opinion. We didn't see the same link-up play with Ekatike as what we've seen. It was very difficult for them to do that. And, you know, credit to Sunderland. They did make it difficult for us going on the attack. So, yeah, we've seen a completely different game. That link-up wasn't there. One of the things that stands out most to me with Florian Wirtz, though, from yesterday, was that little flick. Just outside our own box. He gets the ball. Little flick over the head, over to Salah. Oh, what a phenomenal touch. Absolutely phenomenal.
Fantastic. He's got everything in his locker, hasn't he? But he is only 22 years of age. I think I said on the previous show he's 23, but I think he is 22. Unless he is 23 now. He might have had a birthday in between, who knows?
Happy birthday if you have.
But he's got bags of ability. For me, one of the biggest testaments was walking into work today and a load of Man United fans just talking to me about him. Just not even talking about the game, just talking to me about him and what he's going to do in the future. And it's very apparent, and I've been on many different shows on different platforms talking about he's a little bit, I don't know what the word is or what the phrase is, he can't really do what he's been brought to do without 2 brilliant wingers, in the sense of they're at the top of the game. So I think if you put him in this team now and you had a Luis Diaz and a Mohamed Salah from last season, or a Sadio Mane and a Mohamed Salah from a few seasons ago, this kid would be absolutely sensational. And if Liverpool are going to do any business in the summer to make Florian Wirtz tick, I think that's the business that they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You just mentioned there about the 9 kilograms of muscle, I think you said he's put on. If he can continue to develop with his physicality like that, and he ends up with the same strength of what we've seen with Mo Salah, and he can't be budged off the ball, he's gonna be untouchable. He really is. And to have such a player, and he's quite small as well, so he's got a very low centre of gravity, which means it's going to be much easier for him to be able to make these little sneaky turns, and it's going to draw fouls on him, it's going to put pressure on the opponents. So it really is going to be an absolute pleasure to watch if he keeps developing with that physical side of things, because he's certainly got the skill set without a doubt.
No, absolutely. 9 kilograms is obviously tongue in cheek. He couldn't have possibly put on that much muscle, but he certainly had. He looked like he had the strength of it. We'll go for an 18. No, so yeah, moving on. I spoke to you off air earlier, Chris. I seemed a little bit more impressed with Liverpool's performance than yourself when I'm speaking to many Liverpool fans today. Again, they've not been too impressed. So I want to ask your thoughts about that. So you're not so impressed with Liverpool last night?
Yeah, it's not that I'm not impressed, because we have to take into account the way we've been this season. So it's certainly a big improvement on what we've seen, excluding the odd couple of games. We're still, what I did say is we're still nowhere near what we've become accustomed to over the years. So there's still a long way to go.
Can I just press you on that? Because this is where I think a lot of football fans, and including myself, so it's not like I'm acting like I'm superior or anything like that, is you watch the game with emotion, and the context of a fixture sometimes makes you look and assess a game from what it is. So obviously we had the season we've had. We've just been beaten in the previous fixture. So we've lost 2 of the last 3 going into Sunderland. Never mind the horrible form before that. That was only our second win last night in 2026. So you're judging this game, and we can't help it as football fans. We judge this game off what was happening around us. But I was thinking, if Liverpool were top of the league, I was watching it last night thinking, this is us, top of the league. I think it's a really professional away performance. I think we nullified them to pretty much nothing. I think we were defensively solid. We constricted them in the second half. I know that you're going to talk about Liverpool dropped off when we were a goal up. But in that second half, bear in mind that players are tired. And I've been critical before of them being tired and so on, stuff like that. But in that second half, Liverpool were not touched. I don't think Sunderland done anything. We're away from home against the side that have been unbeaten the whole season. And I just think if Liverpool were top of the league, we would be judging this completely different, thinking, do you know what? Good result. We got out of there, 3 points. Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think it's... I'm not saying it's not a good result and we've come out there with 3 points in any way, shape or form.
I'm talking about specifically the performance, though.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, whether we're top of the league or not, it'd still be, okay, yeah, we've done the job, but was it a good job, what we can do and what we expect to do? It's tough, because, as we've just said, they're unbeaten at home this season, so it was always going to be a tough place to go. But without repeating myself, to quote Jurgen Klopp of the Round Table, he wants to see quality, he wants to see intensity.
Arne Slot.
Who did I say?
Jurgen Klopp.
Did I? We'll stick with Jurgen Klopp. Arne Slot, sorry. To stick with Slot, and the quote that he made, he wants to see quality, he wants to see intensity.
I think we've seen that. I
think we've seen a change in quality. There's certainly an element of quality there.
I completely disagree. So in the first half, so TNT at half time, they were saying Liverpool were too slow. I have absolutely criticised Liverpool over and over again for being too slow. I think they started off slow, and I think the intensity was there. I think when I spoke about Florian Wirtz before, improving Liverpool and inspiring the players around them, that's what I believe. I think Liverpool got quicker. I think they got more intense, and I think they were very focused. If there's one thing that I talk about Liverpool's performance last night, they were all focused, and once they seen and they smelled blood, Liverpool was strangling Sunderland in their own penalty area, or that's certainly that final third. There wasn't loads of clear-cut chances, but they were probing, and I thought they were pretty intense. I thought that's how, going into half-time, I was thinking, if I was Sunderland, I'd be made up that it's 0-0, but also, I don't know how we get out of this.
There was an improvement. Without a doubt, there was an improvement in quality. There was an improvement in intensity, but it's not where we could be. It's not where we would expect to be with the quality of players that we have.
My point is that when Liverpool win the league, whether it was under Jurgen Klopp away to Sheffield United, when I think it was Ronaldo scored a dodgy goal at some point, or Liverpool last season at various moments, when you go away against these teams, when we say where we want it to be, when top teams play teams, they don't play brilliant all the time. I thought Liverpool's performance were pretty good last night.
Absolutely, you don't play brilliant all the time. I mean, we seen a game a few seasons ago where we ended up with Alisson coming up and scoring an header for us in the last minute because that's what we needed. And you do win games where you're not playing well. The difference with this, though, Peter, is that there's not been a sustained, consistent performance from Liverpool. And that's where the difference is. We're not talking about this just one game.
But we are today.
We are today.
Yeah.
But my opinion of it overall is not just on one game.
But then but that's what I've said to you. If we're judging this one game and we're only judging it, we should be judging it in isolation because with the context is sort of blurring the lines.
But then you can't say what about if we're sitting top of the league if we're only judging it on one game. So if we're going to talk about if we were top of the league, how would we view it? Then we need to review it all as an overall. And for me, in my personal opinion, I'm looking at it because there's not a sustained, consistent performance from Liverpool, and that's why. Yes, there's a marked improvement. Yes, it's great to see. Yeah, I want to see that continue going forward. Absolutely. Every fan does. It's not where we could be.
Okay, I'm going to stick on it for another moment because I'm not judging Liverpool as in they've turned the corner and this is going to be fantastic and we're going to go and batter Brighton and we're going to go and play Nottingham Forest the week after and go and smash them 3-0. I'm saying that sometimes we're all guilty of it. We judge things with the context. I said that at the beginning. So I know you say we can't judge it in isolation. Well, we are. This is our job. This is what we're doing right now. So I think if Liverpool, and I'll repeat again, I don't want to spend too much time on it. If Liverpool were top of the Premier League now, I think all Liverpool fans would be like, good result, that's really good. And I know that you're not disputing that it's a good result. I'm saying I think the performance was actually much better than they're getting the credit for, because of the context. And the context is they've not been good enough this season. But I think this result last night, he wasn't as, I don't know, it wasn't a thriller like when we played Newcastle and we played some exciting football. And it wasn't Real Madrid at home. And it wasn't Aston Villa. It definitely wasn't that. But I think it was our most responsible performance of the season. I don't think Sunderland ever looked like scoring a goal. And if anyone disagrees with me, I'm saying watch it back. There was not one moment when I was like, oh, like at the time it might be a little bit emotional, but when you look at it, it was a real professional away performance.
I'll stick with what I said. It was a marked improvement. It was good to see. We can do much better. In terms
Sorry, can I just say one last thing on that? I'm not saying we can't do better. It's really clear that you're getting that point. I'm saying if you grab this game and put it in the 19-20 season, it fits the mould. If you put it in the 24-25 season when we won the league last season, it fits the mould. You could pick this game up and put it in that collage. That's what my point is. So I think we're probably not thinking that this was as good a result as it was, or performance. Make sure it's clear that I'm talking about the performance. I think the performance was absolutely fine. So I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm saying if you pick the game up and you put it in, if you bought the DVD of us winning the league, this would go in it. It was fine.
I would say it was a good performance. I wouldn't say it was great.
You wouldn't say it would fit into. I'm trying to make my point. I'm not saying it was a great performance. I never once said it was a great performance. I said it was a great result, but the performance was a good performance in the sense that if you seen that under Jurgen Klopp or you seen that under Arne Slot last season, I think would you disagree? Do you think this wouldn't fit into last season or Jurgen Klopp's side?
No, I don't disagree with that at all. I think
I think that's what my whole point was.
Yeah, I think it will fit in. But obviously, it's difficult to view it that way when you look at how the season's going. You want to see marked improvements, and yes, it was a marked improvement. But we still want to see more. We still need to see more. In terms of, you just used the word responsible performance there, I think it was you said. It was until last 10 minutes, and we've seen the same situation again. We're 1-0. We've dropped right the way back. We've invited the pressure, couple of hairy moments, living on the edge. We've got through it. We've got the 3 points. Great. Absolutely superb. So important, as I said before, especially with the results from the day before. So it puts us in a half-decent position again to what we were 24 hours ago. But that last 10 minutes, I don't feel is responsible.
I think the opposition always have moments. I think Liverpool fans and all football fans forget that the other team have agency in this. I think just because we're talking about the context again, that we're looking at the last 10 minutes because of previous performances. For me, I don't think Liverpool at all look like they were ever going to concede. And I thought, in particular, I'll speak about Virgil van Dijk now, who was given the man of the match for the goal. Obviously his performance as well, but he got given it for the goal over Konate. But Ibrahim Konate, I thought was absolutely fantastic. I was a bit worried about him going into these last couple of games, but he's done himself no favours. He's done himself all the favours. I've just said that wrong, haven't I? He's done himself all the favours to be cementing that place in the Liverpool side, but also over the next couple of years, if he was to stick around, because obviously his contract is up in the summer, it looks like he's going to be going. I think when you're looking at Ibu Kanate over the last couple of games, you're thinking, it's a shame he's going, because that's the defender that we have been used to or accustomed to over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he looks interested again. He looks focused again. What the reasons are behind that, we don't know. Whether there was something ahead of the sad situation that he had to deal with a few weeks ago. Who knows? But it's great to see him focused. It's great to see him engaged back in again. He really looked like he wanted it, and he put in another good performance with some great challenges in there.
Responsible from him as well, because there's been moments when you looked at him over the years when he was playing against a centre forward that is not always the best, like Beto or Everton or Calvert-Lewin or various other strikers that are physical. He seems to get engrossed in the battle of trying to fight them rather than playing football. I think he done that pretty well last night, because he got tugged quite a few times by, I can't remember the guy's name for Sunderland's, but he was pulling them all over the shot, and he just played his football. He tackled well, he intercepted well, he read the game well, and for me, he was definitely my man of the match just for his consistency throughout the game. The league table looks a lot better now, Chris, doesn't it? Because 24 hours earlier, I didn't watch the footy on the Tuesday night, if I'm honest, because I just didn't want to. But I was looking out for the scores, and at 1 point, Everton were above us in the league table. So 24 hours later, normal service resumed. We didn't have to wait 24 hours, of course, because they end up getting beat. But we're 5 points clear of them now, so they're behind us. But we're looking above now. Man United dropped points and Chelsea dropped points, as you alluded to before. Villa didn't. They got a good win. How are you feeling for top 4 chances now?
I mean, they're certainly improved. And it goes back to what I said before about a sustained improvement, consistent improvement in the performances. The games are going to very quickly start disappearing from underneath us. So we need to make sure the next few games are going to be critical, that we get these points in the bag and keep that pressure on. Any more slip-ups, it's going to be very difficult.
Well, the period of the season now, we've got an interesting end this season. We play Man United, we play Aston Villa, and I can't remember who else is it in May in time. But we don't play any top side until that period of time. So May looks very, very difficult. But I think it's not a top 8 side from now till May. So Liverpool really need to pick up the points from this point onwards. We've got 12 games to go. If we're going to finish in the top 4, we really want to be putting sides to bed. Got Nottingham Forest a week on Sunday. They've just changed the manager, which is just unbelievable, isn't it? But I don't want to talk about that yet, Chris, because that's all for next week. That's next week's business, isn't it? We can cry about that next week. What I want to talk about is what's next up, and it's the FA Cup, isn't it? So we've got Saturday night, 8 o'clock kickoff, Valentine's Day, which is just ruined for all the girls, isn't it? But who cares about them? But I have seen loads of tickets going about, so I feel like there's a lot of lads who can't go to the match for whatever reason. I don't know about that. I'm actually not going because I'm going away, so before people start piping up, because I've had a few of the lads already trying to give me some grief. But the FA Cup's important. I think it's important for this season. I think it's important anyway. For me, I think this is a competition where it drives me mad that Liverpool are so far behind Arsenal and Manchester United when we've won everything else. We've bossed everything else. We've won the most of everything else. But in the FA Cup, we've just found ourselves a little bit short. We are, I think it's 6 FA Cups behind Arsenal. We're 5 behind Man United. This is a season we should really be going for it.
I think it's also, but when we're saying this, it's important to look at what time of the season the FA Cup fixtures start to kick in. So the League Cup fixtures, they kick in a little bit earlier, so legs are still a bit fresh, minds are still a bit fresh. You quite often see a lot of the Premier League teams, not even just the top teams now, a lot of the Premier League teams in the early stages will change the personnel for the early stages of these cup games. But even more so with the League Cup, because it starts much earlier in the season than what the FA Cup does, the legs are still fresh. So you can play a few of your first team players if you wish to do so, because you're not overly worried at that point about burnout, about fixture pile up. The FA Cup kicks in at a time when there's a lot of fixtures, especially when you're still in Europe as well. So it also makes the selection a bit more difficult for the manager of what the importance is. And I know fans don't like hearing that. A lot of people don't like hearing that, but it's the reality of the situation. Now, I think this year for Liverpool, it's majorly important to put in a good run and even go on to win it. It's silverware.
Can I just ask you though, are you defending Liverpool there when you're saying at the time of the year?
In what sense am I defending?
About not winning the FA Cup enough?
I'm not defending in any way, shape or form. Let's not.
So what's the point then? What you're saying about it's the time of year? Because you've made this point about it's the time of year, but Liverpool, and my point is Liverpool have not won this FA Cup anywhere near the amount that you'd expect the most successful club in English football.
Yeah, so what I'm alluding to is that in terms of that is I'm not defending it, but one of the reasons what I'm saying is could be a possibility of it is that they sort of like to rest the players a little bit more.
So doesn't everyone else. You've just said that yourself. What I'm saying is Arsenal have won the FA Cup and a ridiculous amount of times. Manchester United as well. Chelsea and City have now caught up to us on 8. So I get your point. I understand it. But it's Liverpool have not won the FA Cup anywhere near. And it's historically as well, because it took a while for Shankly to win it. Bob Paisley didn't win the FA Cup. I don't think we've ever had an English manager that's ever won the FA Cup. So we won it in 2022. Before that, there was a 16-year gap of winning the FA Cup. But not only that, last season, we were knocked out the 4th round against Plymouth away. That team, you talk about resting players, that was a joke. You just threw the competition away. It was there to be won. So there's a lot of disrespect that maybe Liverpool have given to the FA Cup. Maybe we haven't had the best squads. But I think we should be making sure that we go and win competitions like this and make sure that we're adding to the trophy cabinet, because there's no divine right to go and win the Champions League every season. We've only won it 6 times. Only won it, by the way, which is the most successful in English football, but you get the point. There's no divine right to win a league title. But Liverpool have got a really, really unwanted record of being the most times the team's been knocked out the FA Cup 4th round. So the FA Cup really isn't our friend, when really we should have a much, much better history in it.
Yeah, and the first thing I'm going to mention there is to what I say about all the teams also rest players as well, is then it comes down to strength and depth. So then is Liverpool's strength and depth not as good as what the other teams are, maybe? Who knows? In terms of being knocked out in the 4th round, not being so successful in it, is do we sometimes, I think you've just said there, do we give too much respect to other players, to other teams, rather than go out there, rather than concentrate on our own game? Do we need to be a bit more focused on what we're doing, saying, look, let's not treat this any different. You need to go out there, you need to put performance in.
You mean disrespect opponents?
Sorry, disrespect, sorry. So there could be a number of things behind it, couldn't there? We don't know what gets said behind the scenes.
I think predominantly in modern football, Liverpool see the Premier League and the Champions League more important because of money. And I think even though that I'm trying to stick a hell of a lot more importance onto it, FSG and Arne Slot are probably thinking, well, no, it'd be nice to win it, but actually Champions League qualification is the most important. And while I understand that, I agree. I also think you can do 2 things at once. And I think Liverpool really should be going for the FA Cup this season. But let's just talk about actually particularly the game, because we play Brighton, who are a very strange side this season. Was it 2-0 or 3-0 that we won in the first in the league? I think
It was 2, I think.
it
Can't
was
remember,
2-0, yeah. That was an interesting game because Liverpool played really well in the first half. We went a couple of goals up. But then Bournemouth, the show's not going very good, is it? Brighton, in the second half, dominated Liverpool. I remember in the ground thinking, bloody hell. Like, at one point I was thinking, get our goal difference up here a bit because it's been a bit embarrassing all season. And the attackers, I think they had 2 or 3 chances where, not like massive chances, but chances on another day. You've seen Brighton score them goals, and we invited so much pressure onto us that it makes me a little bit worried for Saturday night than it would have. I think we could have had a kind of draw. That's what I'm trying to say, Chris. It is a potential banana skin, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're playing any other Premier League team, there's always potential of that. We've alluded before, Premier League is one of, if not the hardest league, certainly in Europe, to be playing in. So any team that you come up against in the Premier League, we've just seen West Ham take some points away from United. We've seen Leeds take some points away from Chelsea. You never know what team you're going to get on the night. And that's the problem. And Brighton are going to be going all out for this, aren't they, at the end of the day? Why shouldn't they? They're always going to be difficult games. An evening game is going to make it even more difficult.
It can make it better for us as well, though, to be fair. Like 8 o'clock in the evening. I mean, look at Newcastle, for example. I know that we spoke about it was a bit of a difficult start, but Liverpool and the crowd were ignited at various points. So it can play into our hands as well.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things there is we haven't got the travel to do as well, so that the players can get a little bit more rest, to remain local with the families and things. They can enjoy the 3 points that they just got for the Premier League. So, yeah, absolutely, it can play into our hands. But we all know how predictable the FA Cup is. You never know what team's going to turn up against you. It remains to be seen, doesn't it, whether we can continue with this sustained, consistent performance.
Liverpool have been consistent. They've been consistently inconsistent, haven't they? We got Brighton Saturday. For me, if we want to remember the lovely days out on Wembley, and how many years has it been now? It's been 4 years since an FA Cup final. An FA Cup final to finish off this season, for me, would be very welcomed, because would winning the FA Cup deem it as a great season? Probably not. A good season and finishing the top 4? Probably. But it would be a great day out, Chris. It certainly would. I can see myself in some shorts, a stupid Liverpool hat, and a stupid Boca hat, and winning the FA Cup. I mean, down at Wembley, on Wembley Way, with all your mates and having a nice cold beer and so on, is what we're in it for, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always a good day out. It's always great to be going down to cup finals. It's always great to be a bit of silverware, especially after the season. A bit of silverware would be a nice finish to it. Wembley or Millennium Stadium?
Do you know what, right? I like Millennium Stadium. I really do, and I think it's nostalgic now. It's just funny, isn't it? Because it was the new thing. But when you think back now, it's probably a bit of nostalgic.
Quite successful with Liverpool as well, Millennium.
It was, yeah, absolutely. But you got that was my next point. Wembley now, at one point, was becoming a bit of our second home, and I think it's become the place again. I think it's a little bit more soulless than the Millennium Stadium, but I feel like I've got that many memories down there now. I know what hotel to stay. It's already booked, which is great. So there's loads of little hunting grounds and stuff that I know where to get me curry if I want a curry and things like that. So I'd actually go with Wembley now, and I think because we're living in the now, aren't we? So I think most certainly I'd pick Wembley now. But the other one is, I'm going to ask you, is Arne Slot seeing the FA Cup as a realistic target? He's come out and actually said it. The Liverpool players definitely will see this. They're a bit like me now. You've got to remember, Virgil van Dijk is coming to the end, so that's certainly the latter part of his Liverpool career. He is a captain of Liverpool. He's going to want to pick up as many trophies as possible. So I just want to stick on that little phrase there of the realistic target. is this now more realistic? I mean, it's a stupid question, really. Of course, it's more realistic, but how are we perceiving the FA Cup? Because you talked about squad depth before. If you go for the FA Cup and you're trying to finish top four, you're sort of weakening your Champions League hopes as well, because you can't stretch this very, very thin squad in all directions. So I'm going to put you on the spot now, Chris. I'm not saying the FA Cup's more important than the Champions League. I'm saying if you're hedging your bets now, you're the manager, you're in charge of the squad, what are you doing?
You've got to go strong. I think he's got to go strong. There's no option about it after the way the season's gone. I mean, to be honest, I haven't seen or heard or read what you've just alluded to there. But the worrying thing that first stuck out to me there was the comment of the FA Cup is realistic now.
I don't think it's. We don't want to take things out of context, because that's happened so many times. I've honestly, recently, and I've done it myself. I don't think it's just basically sometimes people put a microphone in front of you, they ask you the question. They might have said, "Is it a realistic target?" I don't know the actual context of it. He might have just said, "Yeah, of course." Or
okay, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely fair enough. It's always a realistic target, and it should always be for Liverpool. Okay, we haven't had the most success of it, as you alluded to before, but it should always be a realistic target. It definitely is a realistic target. It's definitely a piece of silverware. I think this round is absolutely, you've got to go for broke with it. And then the later rounds, it's a tough one, isn't it? With the injuries and the lack of squad depth that we currently have, as to whether you're going to put that as more important than the Champions League, depending on the results. And we just don't know that at the moment, do we? So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. You've got to go for broke. Definitely at this stage, you've got to go for broke. You need to aim for that silverware. And that the realistic target is the FA Cup at the moment.
I think when we speak about momentum and consistency and all of those things that you need to keep winning football matches, going out to the FA Cup wouldn't do us any favours in any ambitions that we've got in the Premier League or the Champions League either. So just in the short term, yeah, we talk about squad depth, but we also need to make sure that we're winning football matches and breathing that confidence, because the win against Sunderland is fantastic. But then getting beat at home against Brighton on Saturday night would be disastrous.
Absolutely. You've got to question, where do we go from there? If we don't go through the next round of FA Cup and we're not looking at there'll be no looking about it if we go out. If there's not going to be the opportunity of winning that silverware, then the only silverware then does fall is to the Champions League. And you've seriously got to worry for Arne Slot's position at that point then. I mean, he's already in a position now where it's very difficult for him to. He's got to show a lot of difference between now and end of the season. He hasn't got a lot of time to do that. And let's just clarify, I'm not calling for Arne Slot to be sacked in any way, shape or form here. I'm just looking at what the realistic situation is of his position, and would it still be tenable if we go out the fourth round of the FA Cup and we still don't know where we're going to end up with Champions League spots? I don't think his position is in any doubt at all. I think he's definitely safe as Liverpool manager. And actually, I think over the last couple of weeks with the round table and so on, I think there's more likelihood that he'll be the manager at the start of next season than I ever thought over the last few months. I take your point, Chris, but I think Liverpool, the manager's the manager right now. I just can't see it being any other way. If we didn't qualify for Champions League, would you still think that?
I think Liverpool will qualify. So that's why I'm saying it. So I totally get your points. If we didn't qualify for the Champions League, then a decision might be made. Don't want to digress too much into all that, because I also think that if I'm the owner of a football club, then I'd be doing an investigation of why A, B, C, D didn't happen or whatever, and then I'd be making sure that the person that was responsible for that doesn't mean it's on a slot. It could be someone else in the football club, and I think there's been a lot of messing up in this transfer business in the summer, in January, the rebuild of the team. We can go on and on and on. We can do that in a whole show. We will do that at some point, maybe towards the end of the season. If an end of season review, that would make more sense. But right now, I think Arne Slot, with the team, he's got at his disposal. I don't think he's been good enough. But over the last couple of weeks, I think there's been a real improvement, and you can see that the players are very focused on the goals. I do think on Saturday night we will win as well, Chris. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, I think we will win. We've got the home advantage. We've just come off the back of a decent performance and a good 3 points away from Sunderland. I don't see why we can't win. I don't see why we shouldn't win. As I say, home advantage. The performance, a much improved performance against Sunderland. It's got to give the players that little bit of energy. It's got to give them that little bit of hope behind them now, and they need to move forward with that. We need that consistent run.
A bit more confidence.
It has to continue.
Yeah, I think it gives them confidence as well, doesn't it? In the sense that, like, you just played a difficult game, you've won. You can probably take confidences from the City game as well. I heard Virgil van Dijk speaking yesterday in an interview about, he was asking him about last minute winners, and he said the City one wasn't the same. It just wasn't. It was completely different. So we can say that the Palace one and the Bournemouth one were similar, but the one against City wasn't. It was completely different. So he was separating, and I can imagine those conversations are going on inside the dressing room. You got to remember, Virgil van Dijk is a year older than Graham Souness was when he was the manager of the Rangers. So he's such an influential figure around the club, and they will all be breaking things down and making themselves mentally tough. And they look mentally tough on Wednesday. I think they will be again Saturday. I do fancy us. I also think that what could go wrong, or it looks straightforward, or this, that, or the other. Well, football's football, isn't it, Chris? And I think if Liverpool do play well and they go 2-0 up, anything can still happen. And Liverpool's a bit of a mad football club anyway at the best of times, isn't it? So, I don't know. I'm going to ask you your score. I'll go for mine.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool. Clean sheet then? We're going for a clean sheet. Do you think he'll play the goalkeeper? Do you know we haven't done the team, have we, Chris? We've just gone for the score. We haven't done the team. Should we quickly go for the team? Who are we going for?
I think we're going to see Mamardashvili in goal.
We will see Mamardashvili, yeah. Do you think that's right, though, or do you think Alisson should just be playing? If we're trying to win the competition.
Again, I mean, this is the issue, isn't it? Because they need to give some of these players some games. Where do they give them games? You don't want to risk any further injuries to your starting 11 with such big Premier League and Champions League games due in the future, ahead of, or just after this game, should I say. So I get it. It's going to go back, isn't it, to the importance of the FA Cup and so on and so forth, what we just discussed. So it probably is right on the balance to give him a game.
To be fair, he's a first team goalkeeper, isn't he? So I don't like number 2 goalkeepers playing when I'm trying to win a trophy, because I want to be standing there in my shorts with a nice cold beer. So yeah, but in the balance, he is a number 1 goalkeeper. Right back, we'll do the quick right back, because
if he thinks he's fit enough to do 90 minutes, Gomez. There's no really other option, is there?
Your centre halves, you're probably your centre halves as well, then, aren't they? Left back, you carry on with Robertson or Kerkers back in?
I think you'll bring Kerkers back in.
What would you do?
Kerkers.
So Bosley's back, so you're still moving him from right back? You put him back in midfield, or you're putting Bosley back at right back? That means Gomez is out then. Because Gomez then could play centre half, and you could leave one of your centre halves out.
Yeah, I mean, fair point. Potentially, he could play Szoboszlai at right back. It's Gomez's first game back after a few out injured, isn't it? And we know how susceptible he is to injuries. So, yeah, you could be right. Maybe Szoboszlai right back.
So we've got Mamardashvili, we've got Kerkers left back, we've got Szoboszlai right back, and we're going to keep Kanate and Van Dijk. Okay, so that's your back 4, back 5, should I say. Your midfield.
Jones will start. I'd like to think he's going to go McAllister, Gravenberg, Wirtz.
Do you think Jones will start? In place of who?
Maybe Salah.
Should we play 4 in midfield?
Potentially, yeah.
I think he'll keep the same system. He did resort to that, didn't he, towards the end of the game last night? But I think to be a bit more solid and a bit more compact, I think he'll play. I think Jones does come in. I think McAllister might be the one that goes out because of that, because I just don't think stylistically they can play in the same midfield. I think Gravenberch and Florian Wirtz will play. I think Szoboszlai does probably play right back. I think Salah does start because I just think he's still... There's no one who can play on that side. And I think if you're taking him out, then you're sort of saying, well, we're playing a different way. And I don't think that works. I think it's better to change your system to solidify a lead later on rather than to change your system to go more open, if that makes sense. Ekitike, I think he starts, doesn't he? He looks a bit ragged at the moment, doesn't he? He wasn't a great performance last night. And then,
no, he seemed to struggle a little bit last night, didn't he? And, whether... I think the defence made it a little bit difficult for Wirtz to play his normal game and get them balls in, because they can be quite physical, can't they? But we've seen he was a little bit of a rabbit in headlights. We've seen a little bit of frustration come from Ekitike yesterday as well. So they just need to get him post-game there and say, look, just calm it down, stick to what the plan is.
I think he's just a bit frustrated with his performance. So you think he starts?
Yeah.
There's no one else to put in, is there? So it's like we sort of have to play him. That's the problem. And then Cody Gakpo on the left, or are you going to do a wild card?
Did I say Rio? No, I think it'll be Gakpo. I'd like to see Rio come in, but I think it'll be Gakpo.
I don't think he starts against Brighton in the Premier League, do you? I just can't see it happening. So I think that's our starting 11, isn't it? You're still sticking with 2-0 now that you've actually thought about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. I think we'll do the business. I think we'll be in the 5th round of the FA Cup. I hope it's a good draw on Monday. I think making that draw a bit of a lucky draw. The way City get it, the way City have a draw at all the way to play Accrington Stanley in the Champions League and everything. I don't know how they do it, Chris. So if we get a good draw after beating Brighton on Saturday night, I'm sure it will be a nice little FA Cup run. And then we'll be back to the Premier League. I'm away this weekend. I'm going to be watching it in a bar somewhere in Prague with nice Czech beer. So the prices will be right. And I'll hopefully be watching the Reds, not ruin my holiday, because that's happened before. I'm not into that. I love watching Liverpool on holiday, but please just win. And we will be back. I think it's Wednesday we'll be back, not Monday, unfortunately. So we will catch you then. We'll be having a little chat about all the events that may have happened or may have not happened. We certainly would have had a football match, and then we will be looking ahead towards the weekend in what is another absolute critical game for our Champions League qualification aspirations. So we will see you all then. But just remind you, make sure you're subscribing, make sure that you're following us on all of our socials. Just tell your mates if you're interested in this at all. That's fantastic. And we will catch you next week. Up the mighty Reds.